The knock came before sunrise. 3 short raps, familiar, entitled, My Mother's Rhythm. I was already awake, sitting in my grandparents' leather chair, the one that still smelled faintly of pipe smoke and jasmine tea. Their lawyer's voice still echoed in my head from the day before. You're the sole heir, Emily. $26 million, the estate, and all associated assets. It's all yours. I remember staring at the document, my throat tightening as my family's faces twisted from grief to greed in real time. My mother's eyes flicked from the lawyer to me. You'll sign it over, of course, she said, as if it were obvious. I didn't answer. That silence was my first act of rebellion. That night, they kicked me out. No goodbyes, no hesitation. Just my father's voice, cold, rehearsed. You've made your choice. And my mother's final words, you'll regret this. I didn't cry, I didn't beg. I just drove. Back to the only place that ever felt like home, my grandparents' mansion on the hill. The next morning, I unpacked. Slowly, deliberately. Every drawer I opened was filled with memories. Her pearls, his cufflinks, their photos of me when I was small. They'd loved me differently, not for what I could offer, but for who I was. That's why they'd chosen me. By noon, I'd made 2 calls, one to the security firm my grandfather had used for years, and another to the man standing beside me when my family arrived the next day. When their car pulled up, I watched from the window. Mother in pearls, father in his tailored rage, and my brother trailing behind like a loyal shadow. They didn't knock this time, they stormed in, demanding I vacate their property. Emily, my mother started, scanning the marble foyer like she owned it. Don't make this ugly. I smiled. I think it already is. Then she saw him, the man standing silently at my side. Her face froze, because she recognized him. Detective Alan Mercer, the one who'd investigated my grandparents' accident, the one who'd quietly reopened the case last month, after I'd shown him the footage. It started with a suspicion, something in my mother's tone at the funeral, too calm, too rehearsed. Then a comment my brother let slip, at least their death fixed everything. So I checked my grandfather's old dash cam. It wasn't easy, the files were encrypted, but he'd taught me more than they realized. And when I decrypted it, I saw what the police had missed. A car, tailgating, flashing its lights, pushing them off the curve. License plate? My father's. I didn't go to the police immediately. No, I waited. I let them believe I was weak, that I'd crumble. I let them show their hand, every manipulation, every demand to hand over the estate. I needed them desperate, predictable. So when I finally spoke to Detective Mercer, I gave him everything. The footage, the estate's transfer papers, the will, the insurance claims. We spent 3 weeks preparing, every signature traced, every alibi tested. He promised me one thing. When the time came, he'd stand beside me. And he did. My father's face went pale when Mercer spoke. We've got new evidence on your parents' crash, Mr. Holloway. We'll need you both to come in for questioning. My brother stammered, This is insane. But my mother just stared at me, cold, calculating. Did you do this, Emily? I met her gaze, calm. I didn't do anything you wouldn't have done, if you'd been smarter. Mercer's team entered, quiet and efficient. Handcuffs clicked like punctuation. My father didn't fight. My mother didn't look away. When the door finally closed behind them, the silence felt clean, like air after a storm. That night, I walked through the house barefoot. The chandelier light caught the dust in the air, making it look like gold. Everything felt heavier, but somehow lighter. I sat by the fireplace, holding my grandmother's locket, and whispered, "It's over." But I knew it wasn't. Because revenge never really ends. It just settles into your bones, becomes part of who you are. They thought inheritance was money, but my grandparents left me something far greater: their ruthlessness, their patience, their quiet strength. And as I looked out over the dark garden where my grandfather used to read at dawn, I realized something. I didn't just inherit their fortune, I inherited their fire. And I'd used it exactly how they would have wanted: to burn down the ones who betrayed us.